You wake up at the same time, reach for the same phone, scroll the same apps, drink the same coffee, sit in the same place, and something in you relaxes because nothing is unexpected. You tell yourself you like stability. You like knowing what comes next. You like plans that don't change and days that don't surprise you. There's comfort in it, a quiet safety, a sense of control. But sometimes, in the middle of an ordinary moment, standing in line, staring at a familiar screen, driving the same road home, a thought slips in. Is this it? Not loudly, not dramatically, just a soft question you don't answer. Your day's work, that's the strange part. Nothing is falling apart. Nothing is obviously wrong. You're productive enough, responsible enough, functioning. And yet, everything feels muted. You repeat routines because they're efficient. You stick to what you know because it's reliable. You avoid change because it feels unnecessary. At first, it feels mature, grown, disciplined. But over time, the sameness starts to press on you. You do the right things. You follow the plan. You stay consistent. And still, something feels unfinished. You catch yourself postponing things you once cared about. Not quitting, just delaying. You'll start later. You'll explore that idea someday. You'll take that risk when things are more settled. Tomorrow feels safer than today. So you wait. Weeks pass quietly, then months, then years that blur together. You look back and realize how little actually changed. Not because you didn't want more, but because predictability kept you comfortable enough to stay still. You tell yourself you're being patient, but deep down it feels like avoidance. You tell yourself you're content, but the word doesn't quite fit. There's a low-level restlessness you can't explain, a sense that life is happening just outside your routine. You watch others make moves you'd never dare to make, switch careers, start over, speak up, risk being wrong. You don't judge them. You just wonder what it would feel like to live that way. Then you return to your schedule, your habits, your carefully designed predictability, because it works. And that's the problem. The real enemy here isn't you. It's not laziness. It's not lack of ambition. It's comfort that never asks anything from you, distraction that fills the quiet moments, routine that removes friction, delay disguised as patience, a future always pushed to tomorrow. Predictability doesn't trap you by force. It invites you to stay. It whispers that you've earned rest, that stability is the goal, that risk is irresponsible, that discomfort can wait. And you listen because the voice sounds reasonable. You have potential. You know that. You feel it in flashes. But potential doesn't matter in a life designed only to feel safe. Here's the part no one tells you. Feeling safe all the time slowly teaches you to fear growth. And this is where everything changes. The issue was never motivation. It was identity. You don't see yourself as someone who disrupts their own comfort. You don't see yourself as someone who chooses uncertainty. You see yourself as someone who values predictability. So you protect it, defend it, organize your life around it. Discipline in your mind became maintenance, keeping things the same, keeping things stable. But real discipline isn't about preserving comfort. It's about self-respect. It's the ability to do what's uncomfortable without collapsing, to choose growth without drama, to tolerate uncertainty without running back to safety. Discipline isn't restriction, it's control. Control over your impulses, control over your fear, over the part of you that wants life to stay small, because small feels manageable. Predictability feels safe, but it also keeps your world narrow. Freedom doesn't come from knowing exactly what will happen next. It comes from trusting yourself when you don't, from knowing you can adapt, that you won't fall apart when the script changes, that you can stand in unfamiliar territory and remain intact. The strongest people aren't the ones with the most stable routines. They're the ones who don't panic when those routines break. When your life is too predictable, you don't grow muscles for uncertainty. You grow fragile, not weak, fragile, protected from challenge but untested by it. And fragility hides well inside comfort. You don't need chaos, you don't need reckless change, but you do need tension. You need moments that demand more from you than your habits can provide. You need days that don't go as planned. You need to feel slightly off balance and choose to stay anyway, because that's where power is built. Not in motivation, not in inspiration, but in the quiet decision to not retreat when safety is available. Every time you choose predictability over presence, you reinforce an identity that says, I don't handle uncertainty well. And every time you stay when it would be easier to retreat, you rewrite that story. This isn't about changing your whole life. It's about noticing where you default to safety, the conversation you avoid, the idea you keep postponing, the version of yourself you keep delaying until things feel more secure. They never will. Stability without challenge becomes stagnation, and stagnation feels like peace until it turns into regret. So here's the quiet question you can't ignore forever. Are you building a life that feels safe or a life that actually feels alive? And when the next moment comes where predictability is offered and growth is optional, which version of you will show up?